Hello, my friend. When did this story begin? Sometimes the timeline gets a little fuzzy. I think it was 2019. No, maybe it was 2000. But the truth is, it started a long time ago. I was a freshman in high school, and our family had rented this beast of an RV. We were doing a mad dash across the country. A whirlwind tour of America from the driver's seat. First, from east to west across the vast green northern states, then turning back west to east, tracing a path through the sun-baked south. It was a blur of highways, diners, and state parks. But then there was a moment that cut through all the noise. California. We stood at the edge of the continent, and I stepped into not just the Pacific Ocean, but an ocean for the very first time in my life. It wasn't just cold, it was electric. It felt like being introduced to a part of the world, a part of myself that I never knew was missing. The sheer scale of it, the constant rhythmic crash of the waves. It didn't just move me, it clung to me. It was a whisper, a promise. The ocean was calling, and from that moment on, it never stopped. Life has a way of pulling you inland. I didn't make it back to the coast until spring break of my senior year, a quick trip to the white sands of Florida. And after that, a few more visits whenever I could steal the time. For a huge portion of my adult life, home was central North Carolina. Beautiful in its own right with its rolling hills and pine forests, but it wasn't the ocean. I made it a point, a mission almost, to get to the beach whenever I had a spare weekend. Those drives to Carolina Beach became a ritual. The moment the air would change, that first scent of salt on the wind, it felt like coming home. But it was always temporary, a weekend fling. It was never enough. Every time I drove away, leaving the sound of the surf behind, I could feel that call getting fainter, and a familiar ache would set in. The ocean kept calling, and I kept having to hang up. I knew, deep down, I wanted to live there, to wake up with that salty air as a permanent part of my life. But there was always an excuse. The practicalities of life would always shout louder than the whisper of the waves. I needed to be closer to my job. I needed to save more money. And no matter how much I saved, it seemed like the goalposts for coastal living just kept moving further and further away. It was a dream that felt permanently out of reach. But still, that quiet, relentless call of the ocean persisted. Now, let's fast forward back to 2019. My wife and I are driving to Gainesville, Florida. The mission? To pick up a small cargo trailer we found online. One of those deals that was just too good to pass up. And of course, what would a trip to Florida be without a stop at the ocean? It was non-negotiable. So we detoured over to Jacksonville Beach for an extended weekend. And the moment my feet hit the sand, the call wasn't a whisper anymore. It was a scream, a joyous, undeniable roar. I remember sitting there in a beach chair, the sun on my face, just watching the waves roll in. And almost instinctively, I had my phone out. Zillow was open. It started as a daydream, the way it always did. Scrolling north, scrolling south, just looking at pictures and prices, mostly dreaming. But this time felt different. The dream had a little more weight, a pinch of true, actionable desire behind it. We saw a few places that looked interesting, many of them in a town called St. Augustine, just a 30-minute drive south. I'd never been. What's crucial to this part of the story is that this wasn't just my dream anymore. As things turned out, my wife, luckily, shared the exact same affinity for the ocean. This wasn't me dragging her along on my lifelong quest. It was our lifelong dream. So we went. We drove down to St. Augustine, called a realtor, and started looking at homes. We crunched the numbers, took a leap of faith, and a few sips of wine. And within a few weeks, we had placed an offer on a home. Our home. The moment we walked in, we both knew this was the place we belonged. We're now just a few weeks over 6 years here in St. Augustine, and I can tell you without a single hesitation, that we wake up every single day grateful for where we live. We feel inspired by it, utterly, completely happy. It seemingly took a lifetime to get here, a journey of decades filled with longing and near misses. But looking back, I can see how every detour, every delay, every piece of the puzzle had to fall into place exactly as it did to lead us right here to this moment. I guess the point of all this is, don't give up on the dream. Or maybe it's to always follow your intuition, that quiet little voice that knows where you need to be. Find your place, the place you want to be your every day. And believe me, there's even more to this story, a story that's still unfolding every single day. But I'll save that for another time. As always, crush your ego, inflate yourself, follow your intuition, and find your every day.